So
at the
how
time.
do you teach? So does that mean that you can cry? Like you can get yourself into that mode and you can cry when you need to?
Yes.
So prove it. No, I'm just kidding. So like welcome to Mosaic Minds, the podcast where every episode is a colorful blend of perspectives, ideas, and conversation. Each week, our diverse team of hosts brings their unique backgrounds, experiences, and interests to the table. Mosaic Minds is your invitation to join the conversation to see the world through a kaleidoscope of viewpoints. So grab a seat, tune in, and let the mosaic unfold before you. Okay, now it's recording. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Mosaic Minds Podcast. My name is Nick, and this is Jason. And tonight we're doing the Christmas Eve episode, and we are joined by the lovely Brigitte Ortiz. Brigitte is an actress, a fashion and international runway model, and also an entrepreneur. Her newest movie, Bad Apples, is an indie film and it's in post-production right now. And if it's filmed right here in our very own Indianapolis. And she's not just an actress and a model, but she is also the CEO and owner of BG Royals Cosmetics. So welcome to the show, Brigitte.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on here. So if you could just go ahead and give us a little background on you as far as, how you got started, what age, and how you ended up where you're at now, and kind of what some of your future aspirations are.
Okay, so how I got in the industry was basically my mom had put me in a modeling and acting class. I was really shy. I was not interested in acting or modeling. I was just, a shy girl just doing my own thing. And my mom was like, "Hey, you should really try this. Like, this would be amazing for you," because I was shy and she wanted me to get out of my shell. So I tried it. Shout out to Model Essence. That's the first school I went to. Um, from there, I learned how to walk and I started to get out of my shell from being shy. And I learned so much. They taught me so much. And then they got me into acting. And that's where I started to learn how to read scripts, how to present myself, how to slate, things like that. So I wanted to continue to stay in the industry. I told my mom, like, "Hey, I really like this. Like, this is actually really awesome." So then we moved on to another school called John Casablancas, where it was more advanced areas in that. And as I was continuing to learn more there, I got a role there. So I have this manager named Stephanie, and she helped me book more roles. I was doing more commercial and runway and magazines. So I was doing
Okay,
mostly print at the time.
cool.
And long story short, I got into acting. So when I got into acting, I was like, man, like I really want to book more. I kept getting all these no's. Nobody wanted to work with me at the time. So, my confidence was going up and down. But my mom said to keep pushing, that like you can do this. And I finally got my first movie role, which is Bad Apples, as you guys know today, by Steve Morris, amazing director, writer, and actor as well. He was so nice. I was on the set filming for about 2 to 3 weeks, and that's where it all started.
Cool, cool. So I bet your mom, I would have to imagine your mom was a little nervous with you being in your first movie, right? I mean, because I'm sure there are a lot of creeps out there. So
Yes.
right? So I'm sure she was a little bit nervous. Did she go through the process? Did she want to meet Steve and meet all these people and that kind of thing, or did she just kind of trust you and you have an agent?
Yeah, I have an
Okay,
agent from John Casablancas. Yes, I do.
okay. Yeah. So did just kind of trust you guys' judgment, or did she want to meet some of these people?
Well, yeah, I mean, we would always travel because when I was doing modeling, we would travel to New York. It's
Okay.
called a live tour, and it's basically a New York Fashion Week every year. So
Okay.
we
I was
were we
about to
were
ask
com-
about Fashion Week. Yeah.
yeah, so we were comfortable with traveling. So Steve had said, "Oh, you got the part," and he wanted me to fly out to Indianapolis, Indiana. So we talked to Steve more about it just to connect with him and meet the other actors because we did do a Zoom call to get to know everybody. So we were comfortable once we met. what was going to happen, how the set was going to work, things like that. So my
So,
mom, she was pretty cool with Steve.
Good. Okay.
so being an actress in fashion, just out of curiosity, do you ever get to implement your own fashion style into the roles that you're screened for?
Yes, so for this movie, actually, Steve wanted us to kind of put our characters' outfits together.
Nice.
So for my character, her name's Nina. So I was able to put a more dark kind of outfits onto her because she has more of like a darkish personality because she's an orphan, so she doesn't really know how to dress, but she loves dark colors. So I was able to put the outfits onto her and things like that.
Cool. So what's Bad Apples about? Like, what, what's kind of like the major theme of the movie, and like what kind of movie is it? Because it looks like he does mostly kind of like horror kind of films.
Yeah, so Steve's in the horror genre. This one's more about teenagers and it's a psychological thriller. And it's basically about this orphan who moves into this new home. Once she starts moving into this new home, things start to change and she starts to notice the dark side of the family.
Oh,
And
okay.
she starts to notice the chaos and what it's really like being a part of a family that looks perfect in other people's eyes.
What's your strategy for bringing your character to the screen? Like, how do you become that character for that setting that you're in on script?
Well, at first, when I was reading her character, it's nothing like me. So I really had to change myself
Nice.
for that role because she's more tough, more like standing her ground since she's an orphan. And so I had to listen to certain music that she would probably listen to, sit there, get in the moment, feel emotions for that scene, and then just go into that, stay in that area.
And then a follow up question to that is, how are you offset? Like nothing to do with acting. You're just chilling, relaxing
Yeah,
with
so
your
when I'm
friends and family.
offset,
How are you offset?
Yeah, so when I'm offset, I'm always just rehearsing the lines. Obviously, I'm not like the character once cameras are done,
You're not
right?
you're not
Like,
you're not a
but
method actor where you're like stay in character like, constantly,
yeah,
24/7.
no, I'm just like, okay, camera's off. I'm myself again, because it is a character. Sometimes if it's like an emotional scene, I will have to stay in that just to get all the emotions in. Because when you hit an emotional scene, because there are a lot of emotional scenes in this movie, you stay in that, and sometimes it's kind of hard to get out of it.
So
At the
how do you teach? So does that mean that you can cry? Like you can get yourself into that mode and you can cry when you need to?
Yes.
So prove it. No, I'm just kidding. So like, so how do they teach you in acting school to do that? Like what kind of frame do they tell you to put yourself in order to, like, did they tell you to picture something sad, or did they say just try to, how would they go about that? How would you teach that?
Yeah, so when we were in the classes, we would perform emotional scenes. And
Okay.
sometimes they would tell us, think of something that really hurt you at a time in your life. Or how would you feel if this happened to somebody you loved, right? And you would really have to feel that. And then the emotion really does come up because you're thinking about, wow, like if this really happened to me, I would be in distress. So that building the emotions, that's how I was able to cry.
Okay. Yeah. So is there a backup for people that can't cry? Like they, turn the cameras off and throw some Visine in there or something like that? Like, do they have a kind of a, cause I'm sure there's some people that they're just not emotional people, and it's hard for them to do that.
Yeah, there are a few props. Like in this movie, we do have a lot of props with gore and blood and things like that. Um, for the tears, there are like props that you just like put it in, put in a teardrop, and then action. It just starts watering
Okay.
down,
All
and you
right.
just keep
Cool.
crying. Yeah.
Let me ask you a Mosaic Minds themed question. So you do three unique things, if I get this right: actress, fashion, runway model, entrepreneur. There. Rate me an A, B, and C as far as your comfort level. In other words, maybe what's a favorite? Kind of rate those 1, 2, and 3 for me.
Okay. My favorite is, of course, the acting industry. That's my top. I love that so much. So that's my A. My B would probably be my baskets because I really put a lot of work into them, my work. And then foresee is modeling, because I've done modeling my whole life, but I'm branching out into different areas in the industry. So that's kind of there.
Right. What's cool is with acting, that plays in really strong to, kind of a sales role. So like I would think that would help you in your, in your business, in sales.
Yeah, it actually does, because when we're trying to do Indiegogos and tell people, oh, come watch our movie, buy this perk, that perk, it really helps us to get it out there, just like how I can get my business out there. So it's kind of the same strategy.
Yeah.
Walk me through your entrepreneur aspects of it, because I'm an entrepreneur myself, but walk me through what would be an example of the products that would be in that basket, and then for what occasion would that be for?
Okay, so let's say someone wanted a gift for their boyfriend, right? Maybe a little girl wants a gift for her boyfriend, and he likes Spider-Man. So the theme would be a Spider-Man basket with things that he likes in it, wrapped up, and maybe she could add a letter in it, whatever she would like, and we put it together, and then we send it off.
So well thought out and unique is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Very good.
That's
Very
cool.
good.
So
That's
gift baskets that are makeup themed, right? Like makeovers, like facial, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it can be really anything. It's called cosmetics because most men buy it for their women, and they like makeup. So that's where cosmetics comes in.
What's cool is I feel like that there's a lot of directions you could go in that. If you ever were growing and you wanted to expand, like you could, I feel like you could go into, like Victoria's Secret kind of thing, go into like pajamas and like that kind of thing, and put baskets together like that even.
I'm going to ask you a rookie question here. I've got a follow-up question to it. So what's the maximum heel height that you feel like you can walk without maybe twisting an ankle? Because that would be hard for me. I can't walk in ice skates. So I'm just asking. You got a good sense of humor, so kind of take that question first.
I feel like I could do stiletto, which is really long. It's like this kind of height here. I mean, of course it'll have to be stable so I won't fall, but I've walked in it before, a stiletto heel.
The follow-up question I have there, if I'm mentioning the cities that I've heard of to do them, maybe would be like a London or New York or wherever you've been. Is it set up the same to where you're kind of taking I don't know how to say this to you, a certain amount of steps, a certain amount of pose, like break down maybe venue A versus venue B, just for our audience at large that's never been to a fashion show?
Oh, yes. So it depends who's running it and how they want the models to walk. Sometimes they want the models to walk fast-paced, right? Others want slow, calm, relaxed. So let's say for New York, it's more a high type of fashion, a lot of crazy designs going on there. So they'd want you to kind of like go fast with it, but also slow down with your poses to see the outfits. Unless you're in let's say Dallas, Texas, modeling, they would kind of want you to go slow with it because they want all the outfits to be seen. But New York's more fast paced.
Yeah, that's what I think of too. Like Sex in the City kind of stuff, where they're like down and back, right?
Yes.
And then, do you ever have to wear anything that you're like, holy cow, I'd never wear this in real life?
Yes. So actually, for New York Fashion Week, it was with the Fashion Life Tour. I had to wear this dress, and it was just all put together. I have a few photos of it, but it was just all random outfits sewed together, all kinds of patterns, and it's just something I wouldn't wear. I wouldn't wear that.
Right.
It's crazy.
Some of that stuff's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of their outfits are really crazy. Yeah.
So who I've always wondered this. Who wears some of that stuff? I mean, because I've never been walking down the street and seen somebody with a giant feather coming out of their, the back of their shirt or anything like that. So like who wears some of this stuff? Is that mostly like European kind of stuff, or I mean,
I would say, well, some people do culture, and in their culture, that's what they do wear on a daily basis.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And others, they probably, like a celebrity, she'll probably just wear that in a red carpet just once or something like that.
how much do you feel like that something, because I feel like a lot of times especially with runway modeling, it seems like there's a lot of I don't want to say political, but a lot of like relevant to the time kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like like whatever's relevant right then, they try to incorporate that in. Do you feel like that's the case?
Yeah, I feel like if they see something trending, they're going to try to make it better. They're going to add on more things to keep the trend going. Yes.
Now, quick question for you. Bad Apples, was that considered an indie film, I believe Nick said?
Yes, it is an indie film.
Very, very awesome. So answer to the crowd at large here. Educate us a little bit on what exactly that means.
Yeah.
And then I've got a follow-up in the indie world that I'm going to give you a chance to throw out, maybe a designer. So just you're prepared for the next one. So go ahead and address the first one for us, kindly.
Yeah, like an indie film is a production, which is, it can be good quality, great quality production, but obviously it's not anything like Netflix wise right now. It's like a project that was created. Sometimes people get different ideas from different movies and put it together, and it becomes this amazing movie that people tend to love.
Yeah, so it's more there. Like if it won an award, it would be like what, like a Sundance Film Festival kind of thing, or is there a certain kind of, I don't know, like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but a certain group that promotes or awards for specifically indie type films?
Yeah, so those are called premieres. And in the premieres, they do take pictures with the actors and give awards out to people. That's how that works.
We're kind of weaving in and out of your projects here, so I appreciate you kind of following us. Really want to give you an opportunity to maybe throw out, if you can, a few specific indie label maybe outfits that you've worn while on the runway or while on the screen. Do you have an opportunity to maybe throw out shout out a company or two for us?
Like a label? Come on,
Yeah,
like
there you go.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
A label? Man, I wore so many outfits. I don't even know.
Let me peel back on that. Go ahead.
Karina, I think is Beline, Karina Beline. She's from America's Next Top Model. She has her own designs for the Fashion Life Tour, and I think her outfits are amazing.
What's a mass label that everybody's heard of? What's your kind of mass label? I don't know how to verb that any better. Like, what's kind of a not an indie label, like a mainstream brand, if you will, that you enjoy?
Oh, Chanel.
Okay, very good.
That's an
and
amazing
why is that,
brand.
if you don't mind me asking?
Because from what I've seen from Chanel, it's more soft. It's more cream colors, natural colors. And I love that kind of style. I just love the logo. Same with Louis Vuitton, amazing outfits as well.
That's cool. So if you had a resume, now it'd be hard to combine the three things that you do into a resume that you would actually be applying for some job. But I'd say what would be your number one or your biggest flex, whether it be in acting or whether it be in modeling or whatever. Like, I got to do this, or I did this with this person. Like, what would you say would be or maybe it's Bad Apples, but what would you say is your biggest flex on that?
That's a good question.
I feel like my biggest flex would probably be being with the American Next Top Models, performing with them. I think that's a huge thing since a lot of people watch the show.
Okay. Was this recent, or was this a few years ago, or?
Yeah, this was about like 2 years ago, a year ago,
Okay.
that I was able to walk the runway with them. It was really fun, and they're really sweet.
So transitioning into the Bad Apples film here, some of the scenes, or if not all of them, were here in Indianapolis. We got to rep the 317 here.
Yeah.
What was your general impression actually of Indianapolis, besides it being cold if it was recent? But talk to us a little bit about your experience here in Indianapolis.
Oh man, since I'm located in Texas, it's always hot here. So when I first got to Indianapolis, I was wearing shorts and a top. I went there and it was freezing. It was so cold, and I was like, oh my God. I didn't have a jacket, so oh my God, the weather compared from Texas to Indianapolis, it's completely different. But it was fun to adjust to, because in Texas we don't really feel that kind of cold as in Indianapolis.
Did you get a chance to get out and enjoy the city at all? Or, I mean, I know that you're not 21 yet, but did you get a chance to get out and kind of like do some of the city things?
Yeah, I went with two actors, Morgan Pyle and Celeste Blandon, that are in the movie. We went out and we went to like this restaurant. It had a bunch of flowers there. They had some really good Mexican food, and we sat there, chatted it up, and ate. It was
Cool.
really pretty there.
Indy's actually a pretty cool city. I mean, it's harder. Like when I was younger, you know, like there wasn't as much to do because it's really more of like the nightlife scene. You know what I mean? But once you get past that, I mean, there's a lot of really fun things to do in Indianapolis. It's very underrated, I feel like.
Talk to me
Yeah.
about your home base there in Texas. Like, is it warm towards your entrepreneurship, the acting? Do you got to kind of travel outside of Texas for most of your projects, or is there a great scene right there? And then give the audience a sense of geographic, like what major city are you closest to there in Texas?
I feel like in Texas, there's not much acting work, more modeling here than anything. So for acting, I do fly out to
Nice.
perform.
Okay, so what's kind of what's upcoming for you? Do you have any other movies that are you just constantly going on auditions, or do you have any others that you've been chosen for yet, or anything like that in the future?
Yeah, so I actually have one I can't talk about, but that's
Okay,
in
that's fair.
2025.
Cool.
And then I have another one. It's a Friday the 13th. Jason
I
escapes
saw
from
that.
hell.
Yeah,
Nice.
I saw that. I didn't know if it was already out, but I was because I hadn't heard of it. But that's cool. That seems like a pretty good part.
Yeah, it's gonna be in 2025 when we start filming it. So I guess it's a sequel continuing on to what happened to Jason.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Is that indie? Is that indie, or is that still by the original franchise?
I would say probably indie. I don't know too much about it, but I just know that the director is really good at what he
Cool.
does.
So give me a sense of like the offers that you're getting, and I may be incorrect in my terminology, but help me out a little bit here, steer me. If you get said roles, obviously you're turning down said roles that don't fit your personality or how you want to act or conduct yourself, but how many of those do you get for every one you accept? And if you don't want to say that, just let the audience know what role maybe you wouldn't accept versus, hey, I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to film that.
Yeah, so I've been reached out to with a lot of roles that I wouldn't be comfortable doing. It's just not what I would do because there's a lot. I know I'm an adult, but there's a lot of stuff that they would want me to do that I wouldn't want to do. So I would say I would do more of action. I would do more action, more romance, more of a storyline.
Just for the audience too, to get to know you, what is your heritage, if you don't mind me asking?
So I was actually born in Texas, but my family's from Colombia.
Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Have you been?
Excellent.
Do you go to Colombia? Like, do you ever go there to visit?
Actually, no, I haven't yet because I've been so busy down here, but I've
Yeah.
heard it's so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. I've seen so many pictures. My family has went a bunch of times. They tell me it's pretty and I'm like, I want to go. I want to go see it.
That's on my list of places to go for sure. Colombia. Yeah.
It might be hard, but I know you've got 3 or 4 acting, and we've already kind of talked about what you've done. It's hard to get another activity going different. Is there anything that you wish you could do or aspire to do that you haven't done, or maybe like an upcoming project or anything like that? What area are you going to be focused on, let's say, the next 90, 120 days?
Oh, I've always wanted to be on Lifetime. I don't know if you guys know, but I've always wanted to be on Lifetime and be in one of those crazy type of killer movies, like, oh, kill my sister
Yeah.
type of thing.
Like Snapped,
yeah.
something like that, except for the movie version. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be so fun. So that's something I've always wanted to do. I've actually trying to been working on.
I think you've got a cool background behind you there. What are those? Are those roles that you've assumed? I'm going to let you speak on
I
what
think
you have
one of
behind
those
you
is
there.
Bad Apple. If
That's
I'm
what I'm-
right, I think
that's what
one
I'm
of
kinda
those-
Yeah,
seeing.
so back here is some of the stuff I've done. These are from Bad Apples. This is Morgan, amazing actress, and then this is basically the family right here. this is a hard place. I don't know if you guys heard of it. Andrew's in this one. This isn't my movie. I'm just supporting Andrew. And then
Okay.
this is more of my modeling right here, and then more of the family right here from Bad Apples. And then this is signed poster of all of the crew from Bad Apples.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Did you meet a lot of friends doing the movie?
Oh my god, yes. Everyone was so nice. I feel like the crew all clicked together, the crew and the actors. Like, it was our first day and we already just started talking about everything.
I feel like that would be one of the advantages of an indie film is I would assume that there's probably far less divas, like people that are just, poof
Yeah.
be gone kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I would think you'd probably click with people a lot better in an indie film.
Yes, for sure, because to be honest, not everyone's cocky. Like, most people are
Right.
humble in what they do. They're not going to brag about what they do. They do it because that's what they love to do.
Talk to me about the size of the industry that you have, like acting, fashion. Is that kind of a small environment to where you go all over the country and you're seeing the same folks, or are you seeing very, very different people? I guess what I'm after is like, is it a huge industry and you don't recognize people, or do you recognize people in most cities you go to?
Oof. I feel like for the modeling, huge industry. Every day you're going to meet somebody new, a new model. You're like, you won't see them all the time. As in acting, you might see that person again. You might act with them again. So I feel like it's more of like a connected circle other than modeling, where it's like a bunch of people you may never see ever again.
Which
So
I guess that'd be a good thing because I know a lot of directors and producers, they use a lot of the same actors and actresses in their movies. So I'm sure it's good to get in with some of those circles, and that way if they're familiar with you, they know that they can work with you well and that you're a good actress, then they probably would hunt you down next time they have something coming around.
yeah, for sure, because most of the actors, once they film a movie like Bad Apples, a lot of them go to conventions, right? And that's where you can get signed posters. It's horror conventions. You can get signed posters, meet the actors, and they're like, hey, like, I really like your personality. Like, let's talk about this movie that's coming up. So you stay in this circle where you're friends with people. You're friends with the actors or directors.
Random question for you. Have you ever played any sports?
Sports, yes. I've played soccer and volleyball.
So let me liken soccer and volleyball to what you've done and kind of mosaic that thought together. So if I'm guessing, you take pride in your craft of everything you do, right?
Yes.
When you play sports, I like to see the agility of this person, the power of this person, the the strength of this person. How do you adapt what you see in sports, or how you try to get better in sports to actually bringing that full circle and the other avenues that you have? Like, how do those connect? How are you getting better day in and day out in what you do entrepreneurially, business sense in your world?
That's a very good question. For my volleyball and soccer, putting that together with my entrepreneurship, I can probably branch that out with what I do. Like, I can add, oh, volleyball attire or a soccer basket, because I know so much about volleyball and soccer. I
Okay.
feel like I could connect with others that would want to purchase something like that and put it all together.
Hey, Jason's putting the ideas out. He wants royalties, right? Just kidding.
Hey, so I'm going to ask you a personal question. So I got a daughter, and bear with me here. I'll put myself out there a little bit. She's actually, what I understand is she's going to make the outfits hopefully on Broadway, right? Kind of behind the scenes, maybe branch a little bit into acting if she gets that opportunity to. That's what she's studying in school. What advice do you have for an aspiring person at or around her age? She's a freshman in college, to enhance that skill set. I hope she listens to this, because you're at the position that I hope that she has aspirations to eventually be in at least one or two of the arms of what you do. So can you take that question for me?
Yeah, of course. So the thing about this industry, it's not easy. A lot of people are going to hate on you and say, oh, like, you're trying to do this, you're never going to be this, or you're never going to be that. Or you're going to get a bunch of no's. Like, oh, I don't like your work, I don't want you. And that's okay, because no's gets you closer to a yes. So what I would say is to never give up, to keep pushing, because you're going to get 100 no's, but you're going to get one yes. And that one yes is going to bring you up there.
Yeah, it's a lot like a relationship, right? Like when you're kind of like looking for that next, partner or whatever, you go through a lot of maybe rejection before you find or you turn them down before you find the right one.
Yes, for sure. And that happens a lot. And then people look back and they're like, dang, why didn't I pick her for my project? Why didn't
Yeah.
I pick her to do this? You know?
Kind of networking 101, I'm assuming that you would be kind of at the forefront of the gentleman that ran the project for Bad Apples. If he does indie film X, I'm assuming that you've built up that relationship to where you could continue that right in future films.
Yeah, so me and Steve, we would always communicate, how he would want his character. And sometimes it was freestyle. So we would just make it our own sometimes. He's just like, whatever, just do it. Just
That's
make it
cool.
happen. So we were able to, put our own characters into his character and combine it. And through him seeing our talent and what we can do, I'm pretty sure there will be more films.
Have you ever done any plays or musicals or anything like that? And I guess to go along with that, do you sing as well?
So I don't sing, but yes, I have been in theater for my whole high school for 4 years, and I've always been in plays. That's also helped me get out of my shell a lot more, performing live in front of people.
Yeah.
Because, man, the adrenaline hits so quick.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you're up there, it's just like, oh my God, all these eyes are on me. So you end up having to put your best performance. So
Yeah.
I've got a few awards for theater, and it was so much fun.
Nice. Yeah, because isn't that what we can edit this out if you want me to say her name? Isn't that what Madeline was doing when she was in school?
Yeah. She's part of the improv team too. So let's transition here. So what's a name or two that you're appreciative of that you want to specifically say, I met this person from this organization? It can be any of the categories that you have, but what's a person or two or a name or two of a studio that we haven't mentioned up to this time, just to say, hey, I really appreciate your influence that you've had on my successful career?
Oh, yeah. So, Model Essence, which was my acting modeling school, they're the people that first introduced me into this industry. They're the first to actually push me to keep going, because there was times where I didn't want to do it anymore. It was too much pressure, too much, oh, you have to stay skinny, you have to do this, you have to be this high. It's overwhelming for someone. So Model Essence for sure. Of course, Steve for giving me the opportunity to show my talent in this movie, because it's going to be amazing, especially with all the props that he has and the areas and the cameras. Amazing. Also, Brandon, the one that's filmed Bad Apples, he's amazing with his angles and his camera work. Beautiful, beautiful work right there. And of course, my mother. My mother is very supportive, and she's always pushed me to do newer things and to just be braver in this industry.
Yeah, your mother sounds amazing. I mean, because that to be able to push you out of your shell like that, I mean, that's a good parent. You know what I mean? Because that not a lot of times people, children I mean, I was this way too, but children are a little bit coddled. It's kind of like, well, if you don't feel comfortable with that, don't do it. So it's awesome that your mom actually like pushed you. No, you need to get out there, because the truth is, the more you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the more you grow and the more comfortable you get.
Got to throw you kind of an oddball question. You're going to do well with it, because I can tell you speak highly of what you've done. So let's say you've got 20 directors in a room and they're casting for various projects, which I know this isn't realistic, but just kind of help me out a little bit here. Give me maybe a 30 to 60 second answer about why you would be great for X role, but throw a wide cast net. Don't just be very specific. Try to be like, hey, this is what I like to do. This is me. Give us a little bit of insight for your fans out there.
If I was in a full room, the first thing I would say is my name and what I bring to the table. I can improvise, memorize scripts very well. I can connect with the characters, learn the script, and help with wardrobe.
Very good. Cool. And I think that's a great answer, because that separates you, right?
Yeah.
If you can do, I like to say, I always told my daughter, if you can do it all, you don't have to be spectacular at any one of those, but if you can do it all, it's great, because as being in broadcasting, we call it like, ad lib versus very scripted. I won't tell you what we are, but I'm more of an ad lib guy. So I really like this conversation because, you're very successful, you're very passionate, you're very humble. So it's an easy conversation to see you thrive and survive and get those increased roles and stuff.
Yeah, I think you're going to do really great things. So, and here in a second, we'll make sure we get all your social media, anywhere that you want people to find you and your business. But real quick, I want to talk about a little bit more about Bad Apples. So it's in post-production right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Filming's done. Yes.
Okay. So when is it? Is there an ETA of when they think it'll be released, and like where does it need to get to before they can do that?
So they're actually thinking it should be officially summer 2025 where it'll be released.
Okay. And if people wanted to invest in the movie, I know a lot of people like to invest in movies. Where can they do that? And I'll also make sure there's a link up for that.
Yeah, of course. If they go to my Instagram or go on Facebook and type in Steve Morris, you can definitely click on his page or my page, go to the Indiegogo, and there's amazing perks and how you can support the movie.
Okay, great. And then where can everybody find you? Do you have a kind of a static username for everything, or is it different?
Yeah, everything's the same. So where you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, things like that, is Brigitte_Ortiz_.
Okay. And like I said, we'll put it up here, but it's Brigitte, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I had to ask her. I had to ask her this morning. I'm like, I want to make sure I say it right. So I did the audio message. I'm like, is it Brigitte?
Yeah.
So I'm glad I got
confused.
it right.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a proper Mosaic send off and say, it's great because we've found that the more of these we do, the more people have the Mosaic tendencies, which is you're not happy with one thing, you're doing 3 or 4, right? You had said that you were shy. You're obviously not shy. You've done these. You're prepared for them. You're thriving. Just the fact that you've done everything behind you in some of those projects, and that's just a fraction of what you've done, is exciting. I think it's also exciting that you step out of your core area, though, and you're an entrepreneur. And that to me is a well-rounded person.
Yeah, I agree.
So I want to tip my cap for that and say to the
thank
audience, that's what it's all about. Don't ever be satisfied with where you're at. Continue to grow with class. And I like how you accept the roles that fit your character and personality. So overall, I just want to tip my cap to you and say, great job. Keep doing great things.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
You guys are
Thank you so
amazing.
much. Thank you so much for being on, Brigitte. And I'm going to go ahead.